Hiya, my name's Savannah Marshall and you're watching Sport and Icons.
So I want to talk about Hughie Fury, his performance over Mariusz Wach this past weekend, among other things and that as well. Yes, I did do a post-fight review, but as I always do with post-fight reviews, as soon as the fight finishes, I record it, get it uploaded to my laptop, add some images, get it uploaded for you guys. So I'm on a bit of a time restraint because I want to try and get it all done before the next fight starts so I don't miss anything, okay? So I didn't quite go into detail, but I was very, very impressed in a nutshell is what I said. But one of the things that I forgot to mention in that one, before we go too much further, is I didn't really go into detail about the indomitable maneuver or lack of. And of course, one of the things that I was meant to mention was, why, Adam Smith, Sky Sports, did you feel the need to say, is this the time that Hughie Fury steps out of the shadow of Tyson? Why would you do that? I mean, Hughie is a different person to Tyson. Yes, there are similarities. They're both tall, they're both British. Of course, they are related, being cousins. Yes, they do have, for the most part, the Peter Fury style. Of course, Tyson, he started off with Rob McCracken. Of course, his dad, John. Then his uncle, Hughie. Then, of course, Peter, where he won the world title and everything with Peter. Then, of course, Ben Davison, now with Sugar Hill. But Tyson Fury's style, how he beat Klitschko, and for a lot of the huge performances for Tyson were the Peter Fury style. Hit, not get hit. Win the rounds, most importantly. If the knockout comes, it comes, okay? Hughie is his own man. So drawing a comparison, there's no need for it. I know it's inevitable because they share the same name, they're blood relations, and yes, of course, there are quite a few similarities, but he's his own man. He really is. There's no point comparing. And right now, Hughie Fury, he's only just turned 26 back in September. So, I mean, I don't want to put too much emphasis on the age because we are going to get to the point now where we have to go, age is no longer a reason for anything. Okay, now he's getting into his man strength. I knew this before because my friend Steve Robinson has been spending, about 3-4 weeks, whatever it was, with Hughie Fury in camp to help Hughie prepare for this fight. So certain things I knew about Hughie. Certain things, obviously, I'm not going to put out on video because obviously sparring, okay? Not that there's too much to talk about other than Hughie Fury pretty much beat him up for 3 weeks, whatever it was. But one of the things that I did mention was the indomitable maneuver. No idea what Peter and Hughie call it, but that's what I dubbed it, meaning that when he does it, you can't defend it. And he was doing this all the way through camp. So naturally, I said he was going to do this maneuver against Mariusz Wach and potentially stop Mariusz Wach. Okay? Hey, egg on my face, he didn't do it. All right? I don't know why he didn't do it. Again, I'm not going to explain to you what it is because that's not my place to say. Much like many sparring stories from many fighters that I know about, it's not my place to put out specifics as to what happened. But I know that this particular move in at least the first week was causing Steve huge problems, okay? Eventually Steve managed to stop it from landing cleanly and everything, but when you don't know about it, it's devastating. He didn't do it. I don't know why he didn't do it. Is it because they realised Mariusz Wach weren't going anywhere? Is it because the cut happened fairly early on? I don't know what it was, but it didn't happen. Hey, my bad, right? Hughie, you let me down, man. You let me down. Now, his performance against Mariusz Wach, I enjoyed it. Again, I want to go back onto Sky Sports as well, the punditry team. For the last few fights with Hughie Fury, they've all been saying, well, we need to see Hughie be a bit more aggressive. We need to see him throwing the right hand a bit more. That's what we need to see from Hughie Fury. Well, he'd done it, and they criticised him for doing it. They said that how he finished the fight for like the last 4 or 5 rounds, where he was behind the jab, throwing the occasional right, doing this, that, and the other, that's how he should have done it in the beginning, all the way through. But had he have done that, you guys would have been critical that he's still not aggressive enough. So I don't know what it is people want from Hughie Fury. How he started the fight, I enjoyed it. And in fact, 2 things I did get right about this fight. Number 1, Hughie would win. Number 2, that you're going to see a different style from Hughie. You're going to see something totally different. And you did. Some people will still be critical. Oh, it's boring, Hughie Fury. What fight were you watching to say that was a boring fight? That was not a boring fight at all. For me, it was the second best fight of the night. The first most entertaining fight of the night for me was Joshua and Pulev, albeit the first round or 2, they were pretty non-existent. But very entertaining fight. The most devastating fight was Lawrence Okolie, making his opponent do that chicken dance. That was quite funny. By the way, I hope he's okay. But the second overall fight that I enjoyed the most for entertainment value was Hughie Fury versus Mariusz Wach. I thought he'd done very well. The aggression, I liked it. I know Peter was a little bit critical himself of some of that he was a little bit too wild, wasn't placing his punches enough, wasn't doing it in a well-timed manner. I enjoyed it personally. I can only speak for myself. I enjoyed it. I liked seeing Hughie do that. For me, that was probably the best performance of his career so far. Albeit, of course, when he won the British title, I mean, that was just pure devastation, wasn't it? But other than that, I think that shows maturity of Hughie Fury. We're going to talk about his losses. Okay, so he's lost to Joseph Parker, Kubrat Pulev, Alexander Povetkin. Kubrat Pulev, we know about the cut. Would that have made any difference? No idea. He was away on Bulgarian soil in Pulev's own country. Would he have got the decision anyway without stopping him? Unlikely. Learning experience. Joseph Parker. Many people feel that he beat Joseph Parker, didn't get the decision. I'm in the minority. I thought on the night that Parker won the fight. I thought Hughie beat Povetkin. So what do I know about scoring fights, right? Quite clearly, I'm fitting the criteria of a British Boxing Board of Control judge. I need to watch myself on that one, don't I? Now, these experiences, so many fighters go through these experiences. Like Dave Allen, for example, he went through fighting Dillian Whyte, Luis Ortiz, Tony Yoka, and quite a few other ones. He should have really learnt from those and excelled. Didn't quite happen. By Dave Allen's own admission, a lot of that was down to lack of training, lack of whatever it may be. Hughie has learnt from that. He's learned from those experiences. For me, it's never about what you've done, it's where you're going. Where he's going, in my opinion, my unprofessional opinion, is in the right direction. Throwing the right hand, a hell of a lot more. Had he thrown that right hand 2 or 3 times per round more, he would have got the decision against Joseph Parker. He would have got the decision against Alexander Povetkin. Okay? Because that's what was lacking. Maybe it was lacking because he wasn't too sure about how his chin was going to check out if he got caught. Because it's one thing to get caught in sparring and taking the punches when you've got headgears on and big gloves. That's one thing. On fight night, no headgear, smaller gloves, they're going to crack a little bit more, aren't they? Now he knows, especially from the Povetkin fight, where Povetkin's a massive, massive puncher. We all know that one. And he took those shots. Maybe now he's like, actually, I can take the shots. Hopefully he doesn't rely on that because no chin is impregnable. Of course it's not. But I think that his confidence is growing. We can see his man strength. He's filled out now. He's filled out. He looks almost like an athlete. We know that he's brought on a strength and conditioning coach. Quite clearly done a fantastic job. And I can see the improvements. I enjoyed the aggression. He needs to be aggressive at times. Did he lose a single round in that fight? I don't think so. I mean, again, what is it that people want from him when he fought Mariusz Wach? Mariusz Wach has never hit the canvas, not once. He's got 3 stoppage defeats. 2 of those he had to pull out through injury. The other one was against the ropes. But the thing is that Hughie, was he ever going to knock out, put down on the canvas Mariusz Wach? Mariusz Wach, who went the distance with Vladimir Klitschko. Mariusz Wach, who went the distance with Dillian Whyte, albeit not a tip-top shape Dillian Whyte, granted, plus other opponents. Would Joshua knock out Mariusz Wach? Would Tyson Fury stop Mariusz Wach? So again, let's just be a little realistic here. Okay, I convinced thousands of you that there was going to be a indomitable maneuver. Didn't happen, my bad. Okay, but it will happen at some point. Then you'll know what it is I'm talking about, or at least you better do, Hughie. All right, because I don't be talking about it too much. But yeah, I was very impressed with that performance. Very, very impressed. I thought he showed great maturity. He showed that he's pushing back people now. He's strong enough to push them back and hold them in place. He can put them in the position where he wants them to land overhands. Sure, a few of them were on the back of the logos. Is what it is. You kind of do what you can do until the referee tells you to pack it in. But I think that he showed great maturity in this fight. I'm very, very impressed. I said he's 26 years old, not long turned 26. Plenty of time left. And the important thing for me is that quite clearly he's learning from those past experiences. The cut didn't help in this fight, I don't think, and his corner team did an absolutely fantastic job, by the way. It took him 2 rounds to sort it out, so it wasn't too much of a problem going forward, but he could have went into his shell, which I think is what happened when he fought Kubrat Pulev. Now, he's only ever been cut 3 times. I say only. That's 3 times. It's actually quite a lot, really, in these 28 fights. But the first one was against Fred Cassie. Next one was against Kubrat Pulev. Now, of course, against Mariusz Wach. But he showed in this fight, he ain't going to panic. Hey, it's a cut. It happens. Let's get on with it. Let's not go wild. Let's not abandon the game plan. He showed that. So again, I don't know what it is people want. I know people will criticise him anyway. Hughie just seems to be one of those people that people just like to criticise. Okay, I've criticised certain things and that before, but that's just me. Okay, I always try and be as honest as I possibly can. Don't mean I'm right. Just means that that's my opinion at that particular time. I've never been overly critical, but he's always got my support, and hopefully he's got your guys' support as well, especially if you're a Brit. And I do believe he's got all the ability in the world to go on and do a hell of a lot in the sport. A hell of a lot. Again, let's not forget, prior to the Vladimir Klitschko win for Tyson, not many people were picking him to become a world champion. Not many people were picking him to create much of a splash. People were saying he's British, European level, maybe. Yes, of course, because he was a European champion. But didn't think he was going to go too much further. Now people are talking about he's the greatest fighter of this era. Some people are going, in my opinion at the minute, a bit too far, saying he's the greatest of all time. Let's judge that at the end of his career. But point is, those who are writing off Hughie Fury right now, maybe you'll turn out to be right. I don't know. My prediction, my thoughts are you're going to be wrong. I think Hughie will go on and do great things. Even right now, Hughie's not the finished article. He's not even close to it. But you put him in the ring with anybody right now. Put him in there with Joshua. Put him in there with Tyson. Put him in there with whoever. You wouldn't put your last quid on him not winning that fight, would you? You wouldn't. You really wouldn't. So for me, he deserves a lot more respect than what he's getting. That's just my honest opinion. I've always been a fan of Hughie Fury. Always. Of course, he's a fellow Brit. I don't know him. I've never spoken to him. I've never spoken to his dad, Peter, either. But good people. That's what I'm hearing. Good people. Very brave. Again, not many people talk about this. The fact that, yes, of course, he got in there with Alexander Povetkin. He got in there with Kubrat Pulev. He got in there with Joseph Parker. Again, very early on in his career, of course. But he also signed up to fight Andy Ruiz Jr. People forget that. He agreed to the fight. Everything was done. He was meant to fight Andy Ruiz Jr. Andy Ruiz Jr. pulled out of the fight to go fight Parker for the WBO World Heavyweight title. Fair play, why not? But Hughie, even then, was willing to take on some of these guys. So he's as brave as an ox. He really is. But anyway, for now, I think that Hughie, he's shown huge improvements. I enjoyed the aggression. Those people within boxing, his dad and that, they can be a little bit more critical and point to certain things and whatever. Much better than what I can. But from a boxing fan looking in, a box fan who's been watching boxing for a long, long time, I enjoyed that performance. And I can see the improvements. A hell of a lot. A hell of a lot. I enjoyed it, okay? Anyway, that's my thoughts. You drop me yours. Click thumbs up. And of course, subscribe. I'll catch you all in the next video.